Today, I want us to have a chat moment. A lot has happened in our lives and it has defined and give us direction. I only started living life in 2017 after I gained admission into my first tertiary institution. The reason why I said I only started living life was that before then I didn't have course, I didn't have direction. So after gaining admission into school, I have a course which is to study an agricultural course that is going to lead me to being a farmer. But that still is not what is the most important part of moving out of the house was. Moving out of the house was a step, in fact, I think it's a million steps that took me closer to achieving my goal. So I actually got my first Android phone in 2018 during the World Cup. And based on the fact that I've had mates that have been using Android phone for a very, very long time, so I was eager to have that machine with me. So I was eager. I was a very large consumer of social media, everything from social media. I consumed it a lot. And then after graduating in 2019, still yet no direction. What I thought was working with some farms so I could actually have something doing for the meantime. The first farm I worked with, while working with them, I had one boss. He actually is the owner of the farm. So I think he was one of the people that actually made this easier for me. Probably if we had not had that discussion that day, I might still have gotten this information, but still it's going to take me a very, very long time to get some of those informations. We had a discussion that day, and he told me about some books that he had. He told me about Rich Dad Poor Dad. He asked if I know about investments. Investments. Was that the question he asked? I can't clearly place the question he asked, but we had a discussion that day, and he told me that I need to be reading books and not just books that I will be reading for fun, for purposes, books that have purposes that they are going to give to you. So after our discussion that day, he told me that if I needed those books, that I should message him. If I needed those books, that I should message him. So I messaged him that he should please send those books to me. Two books he sent to me first was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then The Richest Man in Babylon. Those two books gave me insights. When I say insights, they gave me informations that were far beyond, like, I was probably a 10-5-year-old child at that moment. But once I read those books, I was like 20 something years old in terms of experience and knowledge I have acquired from those books. So after reading those books, one of the main stuff and points that I learned from the books were that I learned about investments, I learned about saving, I learned about the mentality of the rich and the mentality of the poor. And also I learned that I needed to have a skill. Before then, I never really, even my parents never put me through training that, because the model of acquiring a skill is by putting a child, put the child as an apprentice with the boss, and the boss is going to teach the child what he or she knows. The only time I was close to that was when I wanted to learn vulcanizing, and that was because I loved the job. I had an opportunity of there was a vulcanizer that is in front of our house. So during one of our third term holidays while I was in secondary school, I I used to sit with him. So one day he told me to do some works for him, and I actually enjoyed the work. The following day after eating, I went back to his shop. For a whole month we were working, and he was showing me the nooks and crannies of his job and stuff that if I know it's going to help me get, like, he was teaching me his job like an apprentice, like I was his apprentice. So after the holidays, I told my mom that I would like to continue learning the job. I can't remember the reply she gave me, but I didn't further because it was time for school. We go to school in the morning, come back in the evening. So I think that was one of the reasons why it could not work. So that was the only idea I had about skill. But after reading these books, Rich Dad Poor Dad and Richest Man in Babylon, I was so enlightened. And one of the first thing I did was that I practiced the stuffs that I learned from these books. The first thing I practiced was investing because at the time I was working with the farm and I was getting paid. So I told one of my bosses, "Oh, I made a mistake." My previous boss, I should mention his name. His name is Mr. Victor Oluide. Yes, shout out to you, sir. Then my second boss that helped me through with the investments is Mr. Olaoluwa Lamid. Very, very important person in this journey. So he helped me with I told him I wanted to invest, and then I'm sure he's even surprised that I wanted to invest. But I told him that I read some books that and I would like to put it to practice. So he encouraged me by saying he's going to help me because he told me he's not taking any investment at the moment because you know the way students can be. They can say they need the money back, stuff like that. So what he did first was he sent me a written agreement which I signed, which made it crazy. I was like, wow, I have to sign an agreement. So we practiced it in the actual sense. So I think the first money I invested was probably 10,000 or 5,000. And then I increased it over the couple of months. So for about 3 months, I invested with him. And then because the knowledge I had was not stagnant, and youth can be we are in a hurry. So youth can be in a hurry. So because of that, I had to stop the investment with him, but I did it in such a way that it was official. I told him prior to the time I wanted to stop. Because there are some courses now that have come that I knew about that I wanted to learn. So and I needed money to learn those stuffs. So apart from investing, another thing that I also practiced was saving. So at that time while I was working at the farm, we were not doing much work. So there were sites around us where they were doing labor jobs. That was my first time. During that year was actually year 2020. It's a very important year. It was year 2020. And during that year, while a lot was happening to me as well. In terms of positive, negatives, I was learning. I never would have thought in my life while I was at home that I was going to do a bricklayer, a labor job. Never would I have thought of that. Because everything I need, even though we did not have enough, everything I need is always provided. So I had to pick up this job because what I was earning at that time was not much again. I was being paid 30K earlier, but some of the services I was rendering to the farm have reduced because of COVID-19. I used to sit at the store to sell fishes back then. So that was why I was collecting 30K instead of 20K, which 20K from the farm, 10K from the store. So because of COVID-19, the money reduced drastically and it was crazy. Once in a while, I'll go to the site and do one or two jobs and earn money. In some days 2,000, in some days 3,500, and I did that for I think I did that in maybe like 20 days inside a whole month, and I was able to save a lot of money. I think at the time I saved approximately 40,000, so which I was able to account for. Every time I come back from the work in the evening, I'm going to save like 80% of what I'm earning. For example, if I collect 2,500, I'm going to save what's that? I'm going to save 2,000 and I'll spend 500 naira. So that's like 80% of what I'm earning. So at the time I was saving 80% of what I was earning. So at the end of the day, I was able to invest successfully, save successfully, and also now what I did that majority of people do not do is that some of the links that were in the books that could connect me to Robert Kiyosaki and his email, I subscribed for the email of Robert Kiyosaki and I started getting some insightful informations No, there's a difference when you get an information and then you are now updating the information. So I was getting informations on some courses that I could actually take. Although I could not take the courses of Robert Kiyosaki and the ones he was sharing with us then because of money. But what I did was I made sure I started taking courses. I started paying money to learn. Another thing again is after I finished reading those two books, I messaged my boss that I finished reading and he sent me some more books, more than two. Because he was like, "Ah, it seems you really are ready to improve." So he sent me some more books that I was reading. So and I learned a lot of things from I think one of the other books were another version of Robert Kiyosaki's book, probably Poor Kid, Rich Kid, I can't remember the name. But those books were very, very insightful and I learned a lot from them. So after all these stuffs, that was when I felt like I think I'm now alive because it was as if I was dead if I didn't have information. Apart from the ones I learned from fisheries, I didn't have any information. I didn't have a direction. I didn't have a point to which I think I want to get to. So after getting some of this information, it helped me a lot. So I started taking courses. I take courses on copywriting. I took courses on WhatsApp business. I took courses on adverts. I paid for forex. So some of these courses, one of the things that happened was that after practicing them, because I always make sure I practice some of these stuff. After practicing them, I dumped them for one reason or another. Then after practicing, I dumped them. Forex, after practicing forex, I dumped it because of money. But the main purpose is that I was exploring during all these processes. I was exploring because I'm a heavy consumer of social media. I used to spend a lot on data, and that is something that is disheartening to even myself, but there's nothing I can do about it. So I now changed my orientation that I think I need to make money from this platform that I'm spending money because that's the only way it's going to pay me. I need to start making money as well from these platforms. So from there on, I started learning stuff that I could be doing online. So that was what led me to doing YouTube. Before then, there was no YouTube in picture. The only time I thought of making YouTube video was in 2017 while I was doing computer training. And during that time, it was just a playful idea that came to mind. Those times I was not serious. I didn't know what I really wanted to do. So after a while of taking a lot of courses and I was dumping them because I was not being consistent with them. I was not ready to when you learn, you need to be patient with what you learn in order for you to be able to implement and actualize what I was not patient enough during those times. So I took a break from and then one day the idea just popped up in my mind that you could actually make YouTube videos. And that was it. Since then, that has been the grind. But the process where everything was started was what I'm most grateful for. Because if not, I'm sure I wouldn't have gotten to where I am. There are a lot of people that are in my age rank and they're still very, very way backwards in terms of information. I've gone farther than I would have ever gotten to. And I'm very grateful to some of the people that helped me achieve that. My bosses, Brown Fisheries, Mr. Victor Leide, Mr. Ola, and a lot of other people's staff helped me. Although I've not achieved and gotten to where I would like to be currently, but they have defined my setting, they have defined my goal, they have made me like before I didn't have a target that I was aiming at. I was just free ranging. But now I now have a target. I have something that if I continue doing it, I'm going to get somewhere. If I continue doing it consistently, I'm going to get somewhere. Some of these things I didn't have an idea of them before. So I'm very, very, very grateful for that. So you that are listening to me, you that are watching me, is your life defined? Do you have what you are doing? I know you are probably like, why is this guy questioning me? You need to have a defined life. You need to know what you want to do. You don't need to you cannot be stagnant. You need to have something you want to do. Don't just be free ranging because time is moving very, very fast. Someone said time is life, and I think it's true. Because once the time disappear, your life is also disappearing. You are not getting younger. As time goes on, your ages increases, which in actualization is actually decreasing because it means your time on earth is reducing. So you need to have a goal. Learn, start reading, start paying for courses, start paying to learn. And you shouldn't just be looking for educations on free level alone. Try to start paying. It's when you start paying for courses for you to learn that you start getting the information that you need. Well, I'm in no position to be educating and giving you um motivational speeches. Yes. But you that you're looking at me, you know you are doing it wrongly. You're not doing anything at all. So define your life. Try to have a target. So I think that's all. Thank you guys. See you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Thank you very much. Bye.